Okay,
Sir,
so
one thing. I got a mail which said that granite salt mine, something like that. What was that?
yeah, probably they would have been testing using that ID. Some mails they I think they're testing some functions. Yeah, right. So this was the model of like whatever we told is the so-called geocentric universe. Okay, and we told the reasons for that. I gave one assignment. It's up to you to go and find it out. Right? So now we tell the story of how people changed from this geocentric world to what we now understand as the sun-centric or what we call as heliocentric. Helio means sun. Okay. So now what happens is you to understand political stability is very important for the development of science. What, you know what is meant by political stability? Do you understand what is meant by political stability? Political stability means the a stable rule in the country. Like you know, think about a remote country, say in Africa, there are some nations which are perennially under war, gang fights and wars, and one king will come, and then somebody else will come and usurp them, and then the other king will come. You know, in such a scenario, it's very difficult for science to flourish if there is no stability. Okay, and if you don't have support from the ruling class, it is very difficult for science research development and all these things to come up. Okay, so the Greek empire was great in that regard. They had huge support, but then after Alexander's empire, the Greek empire actually withered down, and then after that is what we call as a tough time for Europe from a second century AD and all till around 12th, 13th century AD. We call it as Dark Age of Europe. I don't know whether you have heard about it. Dark Age of Europe. Have you? Have you heard?
Sir,
None of you have heard? Dark Age of Europe?
sir, I think I've heard somewhere,
Yeah, okay,
but I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
really know what it
Yeah,
is.
so the dark age of Europe is supposed to be dark in the sense like dark with respect to knowledge, dark with respect to development. Well, there are a lot of theories into that. There are a lot of people who are trying to argue it was not that dark and all. But from that second century, third century CE to around 13th century CE and all, the scientific developments from Europe was minimal. But then at that time, it is not like in the whole world it was minimal. So there have been contributions from many other countries. Okay, so we will talk about that today. Some two specific countries we will talk about. When Europe was under Dark Age, and that's the time you had plague and all in Europe. You know, so when Europe was under Dark Age, there are certain other places where science actually flourished, so, which is what we will talk about today. Do you know? Do you have any clue where science would have flourished when during second century CE to around 13th century, 14th century CE and all? Which all places? Which all regions?
Renaissance period.
American.
American Renaissance period.
No, Renaissance period is after 14th century and all. So that time Europe is like going through scientific revolution. Before that,
Sir, parts of Asia.
So when the church had the power,
what was that, Ayati?
Europe was facing dark age when church had the power.
Yeah, obviously, even during Renaissance time and other things, also Christianity was the major religion in Europe and Americas. Okay, and you
Roma.
You had different empires in different parts. Yes, Rishikesh.
Roma.
Rome is actually part of Greek and whatever we call it as the European area, right? Any other guesses? Any guesses?
It's a Indian region.
Yeah, India, yes, of course. We will be talking about India, as like Ananya also told that. Okay, we'll be talking about India for sure. Okay. Then we will take a surprise place, which most of you may not have known otherwise. Some regions. China, of course, had some development, but we will talk predominantly about two places today. Not today, today and the next class. Okay. Well, can you name some important scientists from India? I already mentioned Aryabhatta. Apart from that,
Zero. Brahmagupta.
okay.
Ramanujan.
Manijam is pretty last century.
19.
Great scientist,
Vikram
Ramanujan.
Sarabhai.
Vikram Sarabhai is also last century.
Madhava.
Madhava, yes. Great name. Many people don't know. Then
Bhaskaracharya.
C.V. Raman is again pretty recent.
C.V. Ramanilla. Bhaskaracharya.
Bhaskaracharya, yeah. There are two Bhaskaras, Bhaskara 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
1 and 2, yeah. Right. Okay. So you have to understand something that people will tell zero was found in India and this person found so and so.
No,
So
no.
you have to start understanding the thing. It cannot be like one knowledge, one fine day, one person develops. It doesn't happen like that. Okay. Sometimes some people develop some theory or some element some people develop, but otherwise the knowledge is a continuous affair. So, like the Indian at that time scientists, they have borrowed a lot of things from Greek civilization. They have referred to many things from there, and from there they develop many things, and from here many things go to some other places. So, knowledge is all about give and take. So, if somebody tells that my country is the greatest contributor in science, or my country is something special, or my clan is something special, or my family people are all bright and brilliant kind of stuff, so this doesn't stand the test of science, right? So the genetically it doesn't start. Of course, there could be certain regions which are underdeveloped. That can happen. But genetically, the intelligence, the development of science, and all those things, it's all matter of give and take, right? Okay. So yeah, Rishikesh is telling even there are these things that Mayan said used zero and all. But Aryabhatta was a very great scientist. He had great contributions of his own. Um, there he would have borrowed something from many things before Espanini, yes, okay, from before. But he contributed a lot to mathematics as a stream, which was later consolidated by Brahma. Okay, so this the axis of Earth. Well, there are some thoughts that even before some people had some literature before, but Aryabhatta had a very clear idea of the Earth axis, and he has documented it well. And the initial thoughts about trigonometry also. Okay, so before him, we were like there are some kind of idea about the axis. I think it looks like in some literature, but he had put very comprehensively that. Okay, um, can you tell what is the importance of the Earth axis? Why this axis is important?
So
Day and night.
Day and night is. Come again?
seasons.
Seasons. Okay. 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 We'll come to that. Okay. We'll come to that bit detail later. Okay. So I'll just talk about
North
few.
Pole and South Pole.
Okay. We'll come to this. Okay. We will just analyze it threadbare. Yeah. So we'll just talk about few of the scientists and then we will go to the solar radiation. Okay, fine. So just read this. This is how, I don't know, those who have studied trigonometry would have heard about sine and cosine, sine and cos, what we famously call as. Okay. So this is the origin of that word. See, which tells the way in which knowledge travels from one part of the world to another part of the world. See, look at it. We used to use a word called jia in Sanskrit. Jia for ardha jia means half code. Ardha is half for the half code. And then it shortened like jia. People started using. And when Arab travelers came and they started documenting the knowledge from here, and we have taken a lot of knowledge from Greek also, and Greek people have taken knowledge from Mesopotamian and other civilizations also. So when it was translated to Arabic, in Arabic they don't pronounce ya, they use ba instead. So they started talking about jiba in Arabic. And then slowly by talking, it became jib. But those who know Hindi will know in Hindi, jib means pocket, even in Arabic also. And when they translated to Europe, these Arabic books, so they translated the Latin for pocket, which is sinus, which later became sine. You see, this knowledge goes from one region to other region to other region. It creates things like this. Okay. So this is an indication on how things flow. Okay. Then after Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta was a very great scientist, and he's supposed to be the father of the current number system which we have, and he what we call it as Indo-Arabic number system, because the number system was documented by Arabic travelers and they ported it to Arabia, and from there it went to Europe. And when it went to Europe, Europe was using base 16 system, base 16, 1-6. So we learned like Mesopotamia, they used to use base 16, 6-0. Like that Europe used to use base 16, 1-6, which is very complicated. No, they would not have reached the scientific revolution and all by using that system. So this, our beauty of our system is using 9 numbers. You can represent any number. What we call as place value system, right? Okay. And then you might have heard Varaha Mihira. He was one of the a person supposed to be in the Gupta period. They used to have people elect kind of committee to review or advise government. So he was one from that, Navaratna, what they used to call it as. So he has a lot of contributions in optics, algebra, and all. 2 Bhaskaras. You see, then India used to be pretty strong in astronomy, it seems, at that time. So some basics of calculus. Okay, so there is a big dispute going on now, where from calculus originated. So as of now, officially it has been attributed to Leibniz and Newton, but then there is a big discussion going on whether it was something which they took the basics from India to Arabia, and from there it went to Europe. Okay, and then it's a person called Lella. And then we recently, this has become a huge interest among people who search about this, what is called as Kerala School of Mathematics, which probably started from this gentleman called Madhava Sankamagrama, very close to the place where our Shivananda and all study. Nerinyalakuda is what is called a Sankamagrama. Sankamagrama is what is called Kudal Manikya, Kudal Sangamam. Okay, and he now people realize he's one of the greatest scientists the world has ever produced. Unfortunately, he has not left much things documented. So the things which we know is from his disciples like Parameshwara, Somayaji, and all documented. But one thing we know very clearly today is what we learn as power series in mathematics. You will learn in higher classes. is invented by him. So till now, recently, people used to believe that power series was invented in Europe. Okay, but now we have changed the name. It used to be called as Grigori series. A person called Grigori from Europe, and now we call it as Madhava Grigori series. The series itself is renamed. So now we know Madhava had developed it around 200 years before. Around 200 years before. Okay, so it's a great lineage of mathematicians here. Okay, so now we come to this business of axis. Okay, so before that I will run a poll. I can see only one person now, Megha, and then one more person, Ayati. I can't see anybody else. I don't want to take the class without seeing it. Okay, right, don't make me tell this again. Okay, so now I will run a poll. Participate and let us take it forward from there. You can answer multiple questions. When you see something called multiple choice, that means you can have more than one choice. That's what it means. You can select more than one answer. So one smart person has selected first 4 answers. like the first place, you put sikka in everywhere. You put a sikka so that something will hit. Okay. Who is not able to answer? Meka. Meka. I will remove you from co-host. Okay, now you can.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Only 11 people have participated. You know that last answer is for whom, right? So that's a normal trick we use when we don't know the answer, right? Sir, can you please repeat the question, right? Buying time. That is the nota. 3 more people, quick. Last 10 seconds. Okay. So here we go. So this is how you voted. So around 50% of the students felt elliptical orbital path. 75%, a very common myth, that the changing distance between sun and earth during the year. I also used to think the same way when I was in school and college. Tilt of earth axis 69%, revolution of earth around sun 88%, rotation of earth on its own axis 38%. Nobody wants the question to be repeated. Good. Okay. Well, here we go. So now we need to get some clarity. When we tell that the earth axis has a tilt, is there any measure for that tilt? Any measurement? How much tilt it is?
23.5.
23.5 degrees.
23.5 degree from where?
Equator.
Hmm?
I think it is
From the
equator.
I couldn't hear, Rishikesh. 23.5 from where?
I think it is from equator.
From equator.
So I think it's from the straight line that is touching from the North Pole to the South Pole, like the straight, like
The straight line that touches from North Pole to South Pole is what we call as the axis of the Earth.
Turn from the orbital plane.
from the orbital plane. Yeah, okay. And precisely from the perpendicular of the orbital plane. So this is the first thing you to understand. Look at here. Look at this picture. So this is the orbital plane. So see, that's what I'm telling. This is how you have to dissect information. When somebody tells you, oh, why Earth axis is 23.5 degree tilted, you have to ask the first question: 23.5 degree with respect to what? With respect to what? Right? So now, if this is the orbital plane, you see this 23.5 degrees with respect to this perpendicular. 23.5 degree with respect to this. Do you get that? This is the perpendicular to the orbital plane.
Yes.
So that is the first thing we have to understand. Okay. Now, going forward, what happens? Do you think this axis, when you tell that Earth is rotating on its own axis, do you think there is a steel rod like that as an axis? So what is called as an axis? When we tell that Earth is
Imaginary line.
yeah,
Imaginary line.
it is imaginary. It is like you've seen tops, which you play with tops, like when you put the top, after some point, after some point, the top will act like a drunkard. You see? You've seen? Top will go like this. Why? Its axis is tilting. So now starting it will rotate like this. After some point, it will start rotating, tilting like this. So because its axis is tilted there. Understand? So that is what we call as an axis. So axis is the line with respect to which the rotation happens. Think about a top. All of you understand top, right? Pambaram, right? Okay, yeah. Okay. So now for Earth also, when we tell this axis is there, the rotation is happening with respect to this imaginary axis. Right? Okay. Now, rest things are simple, nothing much complicated here. The Earth takes 365 days to rotate. So assume that during December kind of time, the Earth is like this. What will happen? The sunlight will fall on 50% of this only, right? Sunlight will fall only on this 50% of area which is facing the sun. The rest 50% will not get sunlight, which is what we call as night. So this is the fundamental thing which all of you know. But then the trick is, so this red line is what we call as equator. Okay, so that red line is what we call as equator. So if you make the diagram larger, so if you think this is the equator, right? This is the equator and this is the axis, right? Now assume sun is here. Sun is coming from here. The sun's rays are coming from here. Obviously, only the half of the globe will get sunlight. Yeah. So normally, the region above this equator towards the North Pole, we call it as the region above the equator.
Northern hemisphere.
Yeah, we call it as northern hemisphere. Yeah, below we call it as southern hemisphere, right? Okay. So because of this tilt of the Earth, who will get more sunlight, northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? Southern hemisphere will get more sunlight, right? And when this rotates, actually the straight light of sun will not fall on equator, will fall here, because this is the half of this portion. Is it not? So this is the half. This is the point where the sun will be at the head, above the center, because this is the half of this region where sunlight is falling. And when we tell 23.5, this is this 23.5, right? This is the 23.5, and this is the line. This is the line where you will get maximum sunlight, because sun is straight on this side. When you go to this side, sunlight will reduce. It will be very little sunlight here after that dark. When you come down also like that, sunlight will keep on reducing. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So what will be this degree, this angle? This angle?
Sir, 23.
23.5.
Same angle, right? It is the same angle. It is simple geometry. This and this are perpendicular. So is this and this. So if this is 23.5, this is also 23.5, right? So what are you telling? Though this is equator, equator is not the point where you get maximum sunlight during this position. Which is this position? That December position, where the earth is tilted. You understand? So actually 23.5 degree towards south, this is south of equator, is when you get maximum sunlight during December. Yeah. So which place? Now you have to understand, you have to imagine that earth is rotating not like this. Earth is rotating on this axis. It is rotating like this. So what will happen throughout this line? The countries in this line will get maximum sunlight during that position. Okay, so this is what we, this line, imaginary line again, is what we call as Tropic of Capricorn. Don't bother about the name. It is called the Tropic of Capricorn. But just understand, this is the line. The countries in this line will get maximum sunlight when during this period, during this position. During this position. Okay. So what will happen? The northern hemisphere, as you know, gets less of the sunlight. So the countries in this area, this region will have winter. That is why you will see people in Europe, people in America, and all will tell December, November, January, and all, they will have deep winter. That is the time they will try to travel to other countries to avoid. They will go to minus 40 degree, minus 45 degree, minus 30 degree, and all. And but at that time, the countries in the southern hemisphere actually will have summer. Especially the countries in this line will have heavy summer. Which all countries? Which all countries will have summer in this position?
South America
South America,
and the southern side of Africa.
southern side of Africa.
And
Which all countries will have?
Australia.
Australia. So all this Argentina. See, you see, that is why you will see people from Australia, New Zealand, and all will tell actually in December it is summer for them. You understand? So that is why some of our people, when they go from here, from India to some other countries, you see now, the countries in this area and all, they get sunlight not for 12 hours, they get sunlight for most part of the day. Their days are like 15 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours and all. When you get up morning 4 o'clock, sun is there. Night 10 o'clock, sun is there. So people will find it very difficult to sleep.
Night 10 o'clock?
Yeah, see, you see here. See, countries in this line, you just think about it. See, you just think about countries in this line. They get night only for a short period. Understand? And when it comes to the southern pole, it is 24-hour day. During this period, November, December, Jan and all. You see, they get sunlight because Earth is tilting like this. You understand? Do you get that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So now, what will happen? What will now happen? Yeah. What will happen when this goes the other side? When this goes to the when this start moving from December, January, February, March, and when it happens, what will happen? So Earth axis is tilted only, but then the sun rays will fall straight on the equator because this height doesn't change. Here it is falling not on equator because the tilt is like this. When you are here, the tilt is with respect to the orbit. So you get the sunlight exactly on the equator. Like after end of February, March, beginning of April and all those things. That is why countries in the equator will have summer during heavy peak summer, like close to Kerala, places like this, Sri Lanka and all. We have like heavy, summer in March, April and all. Because of this, sun will be above our head. Okay, the temperature will be high. And then when you start further moving, April, May, June, what will happen? When you travel further, then the situation will change. Sun is coming from this side now. You are on this side, June. So the exact opposite to whatever happened before will happen. The center of the sun, only 50% of the globe will be facing the sun. That's 23.5. This is 23.5. And the people here in this line will see sun above their head. You understand? So the countries in this line will have maximum sunlight during that time,
North.
and the North Pole will have almost 24-hour day. And during the Southern Pole countries, like the whatever you told, like Australia and all those people, will have winter. They get less of sunlight. So who will have summer at that time? May, June, July. Which all countries will have?
Sir, India, North America, and the
Yeah.
part of Africa.
Yeah, the
Japan.
European countries. See, India actually will have very little because the northern side of India will have actually summer. But the southern side of India, we are almost close to equator. So India is not far away here. But that is why you see the northern part of India, Himalayas, that and all, you get like heavy winter, heavy summer, and all those things. You understand? So essentially, what happens? This is what we call with the name. These all positions we call with some names. Okay. So almost all the old festivals are based on this movement of sun. Actually, sun is not moving; Earth is moving. But people thought sun is moving at that time. So this position we call it as solstice. These two positions. Depending on which part of the world you are, you call it as winter or summer solstice. If you are in the northern hemisphere, this is winter solstice for you. But for Australia, New Zealand, and Southern African countries, this is summer solstice. Okay? And this is also solstice depending on which part of the world you are in. And these two are called equinox. Again, depending on which place you are, you call it as spring equinox or vernal equinox and autumn equinox. Yeah. So equinox is the time when you have sun above the equator, is what we call it as. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Do you all understand that? This is important, okay? So northern and southern hemisphere get equal sunlight. This is you see, that's what I'm telling you. Yeah, here Rishikesh is right. So you will read in newspapers, today is the day where we won't get shadow. That would be slightly here because we are like this depending on which part of the country you are in. You will certain days you will see in newspaper. Today sun is right above you. Most it will be in April, March. You can watch that. Yes. Right? Okay. So now what people thought during December, people thought sun was above your head it is southern side, and then sun is traveling to northern side. So during these 6 months, people thought sun is starting to travel from southern side, 23.5 degree from southern side to the northern side. So we call this with a name. In ancient times, people used to celebrate the starting of movement of sun. Actually, sun is not moving. They thought sun is moving. Do you know? Actually, most of our festivals are marked against this sun, climate, earth, moon movement.
So, but how will the sun move?
The sun is not moving. So when you will feel like sun is moving, right? Earth is actually rotating because
So,
of
but
the
if it would have been moving, then how will it move?
sun is not moving. What I'm saying is, actually here sun is not moving. But you see in this two position, let us assume you are in equator. In this position, actually sun, you will feel like sun is above this point, right? Above this line. So
Yes,
if you are in this portion, you will see sun is above this line, and from there each day sun, you will see sun is coming closer to you, right? And then,
yes,
yeah, in the other position, what happened? Sun is on the northern side here. So actually, people thought sun is moving 23.5 of south starting in December, and it moves, it reaches around June time on 23.5 other side. And they thought from the northern side, its sun starts moving during June and then it reaches the southern side in December. This is what people used to call as Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. You might have heard there are festivals, Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. Yeah.
So, but sun is not moving. We know that sun is not moving, but if it is moving, then what would be its path if it would be moving?
But that is depending on what will make sun move. The path of the sun. Of course, sun has a minor movement, like we discussed the other day. But the path of any movement is depending on the forces acting on it. Any movement, the path of it will be the forces acting on it, or the initial movement of it. Okay. So
yes, sir.
initially, if there was any movement. Okay. So this is called Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So the first assignment for you come now. The assignment for you is, you see, now I hope you understand this is the reason for seasons, summer, winter, and everything. Actually speaking, the distance between sun and the earth actually changes. The distance between sun and earth actually changes, but the impact of that is very less in season. Season is predominantly happening because of this tilt of the earth and also because of the fact that earth is revolving. Okay, so now the seasons in different parts of the world, there are different seasons. So I want you to go back to your native calendar. If you are like Ayati, I want to look at the Marathi calendar. I want Ritish to look at the Tamil calendar and Sriyesh. I want the kids from Kerala to look at the Kerala calendar. And I want
Sir, I don't know
you,
Kerala calendar.
then you look at Arabic calendar. And Ayak, if you are
Sir, I don't
nativeless.
know that also.
Yeah, okay. If you are nativeless, then don't do it. Okay. Okay. So you look at your native calendars and then try to figure out in your culture which are the seasons, what are the names of the seasons, and what are the festivals which are linked to this apparent movement of sun and earth.
This assignment.
Can you put the assignment on the website?
Yeah, I will put in the website. Okay. So this is the assignment. So you go and study, like you see now in Kerala, we tell about 6 seasons. We don't normally tell about 4 seasons. But outside normally they tell 4 seasons. But in some places 6 seasons. There could be reasons for that. Just understand and how it is linked to this movement. Try to understand. And what are the festivals? For example, like Vishu, Vaishakhi, Pongal. All those things are linked to this actually. Right? Okay. So now we moving on from there.
Can you repeat the assignment?
I will write the site. Okay. I'll write the site.
Sir,
So this
what
was
is
the
this branch
this
line?
yeah. So this was the last point in my previous poll. Can you repeat the question? Okay. 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 Right. So this was the people. Yeah. Okay. So this was, people used to have so many theories regarding which countries are developed in the world, Is climate having some reasons to it? There are many theories that people in the cold countries are more developed, and in the cold countries there is less stress. So there are theories like this.
What is then NTRLC and then LDC?
Yeah, I think this names, right? I also don't know. You can go and check. According to me, it is depending on development, least development, all this. Just check that. So this branch line was a concept which was introduced to tell that there is a vertical divide with respect to development. Most developed countries are like above this, but then they try to include Australia and New Zealand also. Not much important. I just presented it to you. And this changes like South Korea and all got developed. Now like countries like India, China are getting developed. So I hope this will tilt. But there are lots of theories regarding how climate is linked to development. Okay, so that is Brandt line, Vinayak. Yeah. The person called Brandt actually brought up this concept. Okay, so now we talk about another important thing. Do you think the seasons will change ever? Like, will December become summer after some time? Will the dates of
Because
seasons
of
change?
global warming, they might shift. They
Okay.
are shifting a little
Okay.
bit.
Sir,
Yes.
LDC means least developed country,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
NIC means newly industrialized country.
Okay. Okay. Based on development. Yeah. Okay. Good.
RIC I did not find.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a good point. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay.
Sir, your question was, will Earth's climate ever change, right?
Climate will change. What I'm asking is, will the seasons and tilt all will change? See, we understood now the tilt of the axis plays a very big role in determining the seasons. If the tilt was like this, like during December, the northern hemisphere would have had summer. Because of the tilt is like this, is what it changed. So will this change ever? Will the tilt change?
So might be in the future, because like there might, even the sun is revolving around the Milky Way, so there might be many chances that other stars and all come near Earth, so that their gravitational pull might impact the Earth's tilt and seasons.
Okay, good point. Okay, global warming I understand, but global warming will uniformly change, not just one season. It won't interchange the season, right? Okay, so this is something you have to understand. There is something called precession. So the precession means the axis of Earth actually rotates like a top. Okay, so the Earth axis will rotate. So what does that mean? That means the tilt of the Earth after some point will like become like this, then become like this, then become like this. It will rotate. What will be its impact? So its impact would be that the current place where you have December winter will become summer in December after some time. But then there are two things to it. One is this whole rotation of the axis to complete one rotation, it takes 25,800 years. Okay, which means half of the time, 12,900 a year, half of that time, this position tilt will be exact opposite. See, like this, it will become exact opposite. After 12,900 years, it will come back to its original position, which means 25,800 years it takes for the axis of the Earth to tilt. Okay, so that means, that is why other day when I was telling you about this Polaris, as of now, North Pole is linking to Polaris, but then after some point it could change because as the tilt is changed. Okay, so but now you know that the season don't change. Like December is always winter for the last 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. It is happening like that. So can you think what would be happening? Any guess? So 100 years back also December was like winter for us.
Sir, then before when the Earth was created, then it would have been pointing towards Vega.
Yeah, it is nothing called Earth was created one day, but I'm telling if you just calculate from now backwards this many years, you can predict where it is pointing to. It's 25,800 is it's a calculated figure. Any idea? Okay.
So what is the question again?
The question is like, as the tilt is changing, now you understand December, May, if the tilt is like this after 12,900 year or before 12,900 year, December should have been summer in America. But actually it is not so.
Sir, it might be because the continents were moving.
Exactly.
Like before, like the continents are not arranged like now. So before it was one continent called Pangea, I guess so.
So exactly the continents moved exactly to keep summer in and winter in December and summer in June.
So it's just a guess.
Good guess, but very good guess.
Sir, when at that time humans did not exist.
12,000 years, 800 years before humans didn't
No,
exist.
not like that. When that Pangaea was there.
Yeah, but that is why he's just guessing. Yeah. Just guessing like continent movement could be there. Okay. So actually speaking, we manipulate the calendar. Okay. So 1 year, what you tell, is not the time Earth takes to revolve around the sun. Okay. So we do a small adjustment. We do a minor adjustment in the calendar. Right? So that means we have 2 years. 1 year, the actual year, which the Earth takes to complete one revolution around the sun. Then a duplicate year, which we follow to ensure that, not leap year, to ensure that the calendar is intact. Okay, so it is a bit tricky. Now listen carefully. See what will happen, just think about it. What will happen because of this tilt? What would be its impact? Listen carefully, okay? Don't ask after that, sir, please repeat. So now, if you get back to this position, what would happen? See, if when the Earth rotates, completes one revolution, and comes back approximately 365 days, well, you know that this axis will tilt. Axis is tilting every moment. Well, the axis takes 25,800 years to complete one complete spin. But every moment, it is not like 25,800 year midnight, it just tilts. It is tilting every moment. So this axis will tilt. So by the time it comes back here into this original position, the axis would have tilted a bit. Because every moment it is tilting. So then what will happen? Then what will happen is, if you mark a position here, if you mark a position here where the sunlight was falling exactly, after one revolution when you come, that point has slightly shifted because the axis is tilted. You have to imagine it, you have to visualize it. Think about it, keep a globe like this, and the globe's axis, you just think it is tilting. It is tilting. And so when it is tilting, what will happen? So this one, this is the current position. After that, it is tilting, then tilting slowly. So the point here, when you come back after one complete revolution, would have slightly tilted, which means the same position or same seasonal position of last year, you already crossed when you complete one revolution. So if you want to get to the same position, actually you reach it slightly before. You don't have to complete 360-degree revolution, but probably 359 for some point. You already reached the previous year position. You have to visualize it. If you haven't understood, go home and keep a globe and think about it, how that tilt works for you. Okay, so I'll explain once again. So this tilt, you have to understand, this tilt changes like this. Okay, so if the tilt mobile, if it was like this, it tilts, 12,900 here, the tilt is like this. Then 12,900 here more, every moment it is tilting, and it will come back to this original tilt. Right? Which means after 12,900 a year, this globe in December was like this. After 12,900 a year, the globe will be like this. In December, the globe position will be like this, opposite. So, but it happens on every moment. It is not like one flick happen. So when you complete, let us assume 1 year you were here, mark a point here where the sunlight was exactly falling on its head. When you move, the tilting is happening, slowly, tilting is happening. And when you come back after one complete revolution, when you reach your original position, the point which you would have marked would have slightly tilted because of the tilt of the earth axis. Okay, so 360-degree revolution is actually 1 year. Compared to some big star or a galaxy, something here, when you look from here, 360-degree revolution is what matters. But if you look at season, if you want to maintain the same season, you have to make this small adjustment, which is equal to how much would be the movement of the tilt of this axis in 1 year. Okay, do you get that?
So, sir, Earth's axis is changing. Is that natural?
It is natural.
So, change in seasons because of Earth's changing axis is also natural.
Yeah, Earth's axis shifting is natural. This precession is natural. There is a complex physics and geography behind it. Why precession? Why this much time? But it is natural.
Change in season is also natural.
Of course, like you have seen now, because of the Earth axis, because of the revolution, it is natural.
The Earth's changing axis, change in seasons, it's natural.
All are natural, yes.
Okay, sir.
When you tell natural, you mean there is no human intervention.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Okay. So now Megha has tried to do some calculation. Okay, others have done calculation. So now we will calculate how much is the tilt. Okay, so who all are the people who are attended the number games course?
Me.
Okay, now you tell how to calculate what will be the tilt in 1 year. See, 25,800 a year.
Sir, 12,900 divided by.
Okay, calculate.
Sorry, that was.
Calculate. See, think about it. 25,000.
1 second, I got.
Yeah, 25,800 a year means in 25,800 a year, 365 days will be the shift in season or in the axis. Okay, you understand? In 25,800 a year, one complete rotation of the axis happens, which means the season will get shifted by 365 days. So 365 days is 365 into 24 hours into 60 minutes. Now you tell me in 1 year, how much will be the shift? How you get it, I want to know. So those who have attended the number games, I would expect them to apply Toffee maths here. You just tell how you calculate. Don't need to get the actual figure. Just tell me how to calculate. Figure, there are calculator to calculate. Tell me how to calculate. Yeah, Meka. I want one of you to explain how will you calculate this? In 1 year, how much will be the tilt? So you understand this, right? 25,800 a year, it completes one rotation. One rotation means what?
25,800 by 365.
What are we trying to calculate? In 1 year, how much is the tilt? See, this is the same as 10 toffee cost 50 rupees. What is the cost of one toffee?
Okay, okay.
25,800 a year causes a shift of 365 into 24 to 60 minutes. 1 year will cost how much? This divided by this much.
360 by 2.
See, this is very simple. 25,800 a year costs this much. 1 year, this divided by 25,800. 10 toffee cost 50 rupees. One toffee, 50 by 10. This is very simple toffee maths. Well, the figures makes you feel it is complicated. Very complicated figure precision and all this.
24 by
25, you calculate this, you will get 20 minutes.
what is 24 in this?
24 is 24 hour, 365 day into 24 hour into 60 minutes. You get this in minutes. 365 days you are converting into minutes. 365 days means what? 1 day is 24 hour, right? 1 hour is 60 minutes. If you multiply to 60 seconds, you will get it in seconds. So 1 year is this many minutes. So you will get every year 20 minutes is the shift in season. What does that mean? That means when the earth completes its rotation revolution, whatever we call as 360-degree revolution, and comes back to its original position, earth is tilted a bit. How much is that tilt a bit? That is 20 minutes. Okay, so what do we do? So our season has arrived, the same point season has arrived 20 minutes before. So when you complete 360-degree revolution, this you have gone past that point by 20 minutes. So our calendar is a time which is taken for 360-degree revolution minus 20 minutes. So we have 2 years. 1 year, what we call a solar year or our calendar year,
Sir,
and 1 minute. 1 year, which is needed for completing 360-degree. So that 360-degree is what we call as the year with respect to stars. Okay, year with respect to stars or galaxy or the larger system, when they look from there, they are only bothered about the 360-degree revolution. So that is we use a name called sidereal year. Sidereal means with respect to stars. So we have 2 year sidereal year, which is the time taken for 360-degree revolution, and solar year after adjusting this 20 minutes, so that our calendar remains constant. Yeah, Vinayak. Vinayak.
sir, then after 12,899 years, we'll be pointing towards Vega.
Yeah, you will be pointing towards whatever are the stars and that.
In 12,899 years.
Yeah, whatever is which all are the stars, like not just 12, you don't have to wait till that much. Every year when the shifts, which all are the stars above this line, it will point to that.
If there is no star above this line,
North Star is what you call as Polaris is what as of now we are pointing to, right?
it will,
Sir, then in one book it is written that Vishnu gives one guy when he dies he'll become a star, which is the North Star. Then he says that we'd always the Earth will always see that star in the northern direction, but that is not true because as we point towards Vega in 12,900 years.
See, if we have all the science in all our religious books, we don't have to study this, and no, our scientists can rest at home, right? Okay, right. Okay, those are mostly moral stories. Okay, right. So I will just complete one more point because it is very much closer to this. With that, we will stop today's part. Now, this is not finished. So this business of 2 year is not just finished. It also works when the earth rotates around the sun. Okay, so that is what we call as 2 different days. See, think about this. Assume you are standing here. Let us assume Ritish is standing here and sun is on his head top. Now earth completes one rotation on its axis, one rotation, which is what we normally call as a day. But what will happen? By that time, earth has moved because earth is also revolving around the sun. Is it not? Earth is also revolving around the sun. So by the time you complete one rotation, it is slowly moving and it will reach another position. So at that position, above Ritish is not sun. Above Ritish is this. Which means if to reach back the same position as yesterday, which is what your time means where is sun. You have to understand, time means your position with regards to sun. When you tell time is 12 mid-noon, that means the sun is closest to you. So your time is with respect to your position of the sun. Your day, night, and everything is with respect to sun position, right? So when you complete one rotation, actually you don't reach the original position or original time. You have to travel with more distance. So you have completed 360-degree rotation here. Ritish has completed 360-degree rotation. But it is not one day. Let us assume he started at 12 noon. This is not 12 noon for him. He has to travel a bit more to reach 12 noon. This is slightly less than 12 noon. Which means we have 2 days. One day, which is called 360-degree rotation day, which is also called sidereal day. And then what we call a solar day. We make an adjustment to ensure that our clocks and our calendars remain correct. So at that solar day, you have to travel a bit more. Okay? Do you understand that?
Can you explain this again?
Yeah. So solar year is no. It is not based on equator and it is not based on axis. No. Rishikesh, it is not that. The point is, assume you are standing here. So we are telling Ritish is standing here. It need not be equator. It can be any place. Okay, any place. Just like we learned that 23.5 degree towards the southern side and northern side also you can have sun above your head. And for that matter, you don't need to be above the sun exactly. I'm just catching one position so that it is easy to explain. Let us assume in some position regard to sun you are in. Now, earth rotates one complete rotation on its axis, one complete rotation, which is what we call as one day, 360-degree. Okay, so when you complete that, by that time, what happened? Earth is also revolving around the sun. So earth is not stand still in this position. Earth is moving. So when you complete one 360-degree rotation, actually you come back. So Ritish has completed 360-degree rotation. So he is in the same position, but not with respect to sun. He is in the same position with respect to a larger galaxy or the stars and everything. He has completed one rotation, 360-degree, not with respect to sun. So with respect to sun is what our time is calculated as. So if you assume this is 12 o'clock midnight or 12 o'clock mid-noon or 11 o'clock, whatever you call it as, for you to reach back the same time, you have to get back to this position. Ritish has to get back to this position. For that, he has to travel a bit more. So he has completed one 360-degree rotation, which is what we call a sidereal day. But for us to complete the calendar day or solar day, he has to move a bit more. So we have got 2 days, like we have 2 years. The original day is 360 degree, or with respect to stars and the universe, the larger galaxy and everything, is 360 degree rotation is what matters. But for us to survive our calendar, our adjustments, we do this. You understand this? Okay. So listen to the video again, listen to the presentation again if you have doubts. Okay, so I will stop here. For those who are wants to remain, you can remain for 5 more minutes. I don't want you to break your head into this. Anybody can tell how can we find out how much is this time? How did they get this as 23 hour, 56 minute, 4 second? This is the actual time. 23 hour, 56 minute, 4 second is the actual time taken for one complete rotation, 1 day. But it is ideally 24 hour is adding this time.
Sir, Earth takes 2 days to complete around.
No,
I mean, sorry,
one.
you said that there are 2 days.
No. 2 days mean 2 different types of days. Sorry, not 2 days.
Earth takes 365 days to complete around.
Earth takes 365 days to complete. That is what we call as 1 year. What I am telling is there are 2 different definitions of year. 1 year is to complete 360 degree revolution, which we saw. But then whatever we see in our calendar, year to year, is after making the 20-minute adjustment. Otherwise, our seasons will shift.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly here, we have like one complete rotation of the Earth, which is 360 degree, but then we have to make a small adjustment to cover this. Okay. So anyone has a clue? Yeah, why that 4 where can you get that 4 minute, not 4 second, 4 minute? Mathematically, can you just think? With that, we'll close. How you get this? How can you calculate this? Okay, so no need to know that. I'll just explain. If you don't understand, just leave that. Now you,
Sir,
it's yeah.
you need to take 24 hours and deduct the time of revolution. So when you revolve, no, not like that, sir. When you revolve, there is a bit of part
Yeah.
that is left out, and that doesn't count as a day. You must
Yeah,
take
you are
that day.
you are right. You are right. He's telling measure this physically, but I'm asking mathematically how do you calculate? Okay, mathematically how do you get this figure? Okay, so now think about it. See, now we want to calculate this angle. We want to know this angle. How much is this angle? Okay, to know that, let us assume we just complete this line, straight line. So this is this angle. Now, if you're interested, if you really observe this figure, you will know that this angle is equal to this angle. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
This angle, why it is equal to that angle? That is because of a very simple principle. Like if you extend this line, and if you extend this line, you know this angle is equal to this angle, right? Opposite angles are equal. Is it not? This angle is equal to this angle. And this angle is equal to this angle. This is straight line, this is straight line. If you make a straight line here, that angle also will be the same. If you make a straight line here, that angle also will be the same.
Sir, I didn't
That,
get it again.
okay, so think about it.
Opposite interior angles are same.
Yeah, so rather than by hearting it, you know this angle is equal to this angle, right? Now this angle is equal to this angle because this is one straight line. These are perpendicular drops. So all these perpendiculars will form the same angle. This angle will be the same, this angle will be the same. So this angle will be equal to this angle also.
Okay, sir.
Understand? Yeah. So now that means this angle is equal to this angle. So now what is left is to calculate this angle. Okay. So now that also is what we call as toughy maths. See now what you have covered, you have traveled one day. Okay. So to complete this one revolution, if Earth is to come back to this original position, you take approximately 365 days, right? You take 365 days to complete one revolution and come back to your original position. Or to revolve around the sun, you take 365 days. And you cover 360 degree in the process, right? From here, 360 degree for you to cover, you take 365 days. You agree? For Earth to revolve around the sun, you take 365 days. That means to cover 360 degree, you take 365 days. So to cover in one day, how much you will travel is the question. In 365 days, Earth covers 360 degree. So in one day, how much? So that is a very simple mathematics, right? 365 days, you cover 360 degree. In one day, you cover 360 by 365. Right? This is approximately 1 degree, which means every day approximately 1 degree will be the movement of Earth every day. So in 365 days, you will cover 365 degree, which means slightly less than 1 degree. So this is 1 degree. So your question is, how much time Earth will take to cover 1 degree? Which means you see, Earth takes 24 hours to cover 360 degrees. So 360 degrees, you complete your rotation. 360 degree rotation you complete around its axis in 24 hours. So for 1 degree, how much hour? Okay, so it's a bit tricky calculation. So 360 degree, 24 hours, 24 into 60. 1 degree, 24 into 60 by 3. That's how you get that formula. Okay. So it's a bit tricky. Go home, and if those who are interested in the maths of it, you can just have a look at that. Right? So this is where we will stop today. That means you have 2 different kinds of years and 2 different kinds of days. So 360 degree rotation, 365 days, 6 hours, 9 minutes, which is what we call a sidereal year. And what we call a synodic year or the solar year is after adjusting that 20 minutes. So this is 20 minutes less than this. And these are the days, as we told, 360 degree rotation on its axis takes 23 hours 56 minutes. And we make that 4-minute adjustment. Okay.
So, sir, in synodic year, Earth's axis is shifted a little bit.
Oh yeah. In the what we call a solar year, synodic year, it's shifted. We are taking account to that.
So we minus that 20 minutes from that.
Yeah, 20 minutes we minus from that. Yeah. Yeah.